Hi, it's Alicia and I finally have a new camera. No more filming bad quality with my iPhone anymore. However, the rest of this video was filmed with my iPhone and next week's video will also be on my iPhone, but for the rest I will be using this camera. And today I'm going to be making a raincoat. I got this double-sided gingham fabric from my local fabric store and decided to make an inner layer for this transparent raincoat that I got from Depop. I was inspired to do this after seeing a gingham raincoat from Simon's that I found super cute. So let's get started. The first problems with this raincoat is that it's too big. There's this part that seems to have melted by an iron, and as soon as I tried to zip it, the zipper broke off. The first quick and easy modifications I made was to cut off the collar. The coat already has a hood, so I felt that the color was clashing with it. The next thing I did was remove this inner cuffed part of the sleeve, which also has a very old and worn out elastic. For the rest of the project, I will be using a new zipper since the previous one broke, paper clips instead of pins when working with the PVC, and bias tape to finish off the edges. I cut off the zipper from the raincoat, cut off 7 inches from the bottom and 2 inches off of the sleeves. Since the pockets aren't functional anymore, I'm going to remove the Velcro parts. With the bottom I cut off, I'm going to make a new pocket, which is 8 inches by 9 inches plus seam allowance. I will be using this to cover the melted part. I forgot to film this, but I just top stitched the edges to attach the pocket. With the fabric on fold, trace the front side of the jacket. I won't be adding seam allowance to it because while sewing the pieces together, it will make the inner fabric smaller than the outer fabric, which is what you want to avoid bunching. I'm using pinking shears so that the fabric doesn't fray. I'm also adding about ½ inch on the bottom and connecting it to the marking so that the bottom has the same width as the outer part so that I can hem both of the edges together. When done, it should give 2 mirrored identical pieces. Now I do the same thing for the back piece, but with the folded side on the fold of the fabric to make one piece. For the sleeves, I'm using the flower side of the fabric. Repeat the same steps, trace the sleeve, and cut it out. Now all of the pieces are cut out. Attach the sleeves to the front part by pinning them right sides together. Always backstitch to lock in the stitches, and sew with a straight stitch. Pin the sleeve to the back piece and sew them together. The left sleeve is now attached. Do the same thing to the other side. Flip it inside out and sew the side part with a straight stitch. When you get to the armpit, bring the needle down, lift the presser foot, rotate the fabric, lower the presser foot, and continue sewing. After trying it on, the sleeves were too large, so I took off 2 inches. I hemmed the neckline by folding it twice and pinning it down. Since it's curved, it will be a little harder to sew, so make sure to take your time. Next, I will attach a zipper by sandwiching it between the 2 layers. Pin the outer edge of the zipper to the inside of the gingham layer. I am using a zipper foot. Move the slider out of the way and start sewing. Using a zipper foot will allow you to sew as close as possible to the zipper. When you fold the fabric, the raw edges are all hidden. With the zipper showing on the gingham side, top stitch the edge down. For this, you can go back to the normal presser foot. Now that the zipper is attached to the inner fabric, fold the PVC layer in about 1 inch and use the paper clips to pin it. While sewing, make sure to take your time. If the stitches are too close to each other, it can rip the fabric, so make sure to use the longest stitch setting. And now the zipper is fully attached. Cut two 4x2 inch strips of the PVC, fold the edge down and use it as bias tape. The final step is to hem the edges with bias tape. I start by pinning it to the inside of the gingham layer. Sew where the first fold is with a straight stitch. Align the PVC layer with the gingham one and fold the bias tape to hide the raw edges. Pin it down with paper clips. For the edge, fold it inside once and tuck the raw edges in the bias tape. Top stitch it down as close as possible to the edge. Also make sure to check from time to time that the two layers are well aligned. Back stitch to finish it off. Repeat the same thing for the sleeves. I turned it inside out to sew the bias tape to the gingham layer. Pin where the bias tape fits the sleeve perfectly and sew it. Now sew all around the sleeve at the first fold of the bias tape. When you flip it, the raw edges will be hidden. Flip it back to the right side and align the two layers. Since the inner layer is smaller than the outer layer, make a pleat at the seam and pin it down. Top stitch the bias tape to the sleeve and we're done. The before and after were filmed within a 2-month delay period, so sorry for the evident weather changes. And here's the final transformation.